Hello everyone, today I would like to show you how you can use my volume exporter for Houdini to get volume simulations rendered in cycles. To make it quite simple, I will show you 3 parts. The first part is how you can get the add-on, how you can use it in Houdini, and then how you can use it in Blender. So first of all, you have to get the add-on. You go to blendermarket.com, and right now it's one of the new arrivals, and yeah, here you can purchase it. I think it's a quite fair price, and yeah, get it, and then you get 4 files. One of them is the HDA that you can use in your Houdini application. When you have done a simulation, it looks often like this. You have an explosion or another fireball or something like this, and you can render this simulation in Houdini, but Houdini is quite slow, and sometimes you also need the lighting and the correct shadows inside your cycles Blender scene. So that is a good way to export it when you use my add-on. So to install it, simply click on Import, Houdini Digital Asset, then you get a new window. Here you can import the AA Houdini Volume Exporter HDA, accept, install. Don't install and create. Don't push install and create. Just click install, and then when you cache down your simulation, you can simply add it on sub-level. You can go to Tool, and then here you have it. Accept it or add it. Here it's calculating right now. That does look a bit weird, but that's not a problem. That's all fine when it looks so. Here are some advices about voxel separation, about different resolution scales. The default value is 004. Here you can add the output file for the volume, and we also need a bounding box. I thought about the idea to export a bounding box for the entire simulation. You can do that, but I don't recommend it because you will scale the resolution inside Blender when you change the size of your bounding box, or when the size of your bounding box is animated. So you have to choose the maximum scale, or on which frame your bounding box has maximum scale. The best way is you use the last frame. When you export the simulation, you have to use the ABC format for Olympic. Another option is not possible, and then you write out the simulation to a folder of your decision. So you just need to click save to disk with that path and a file description, and then you will get a cache of 220 files, or 220 ABC files. The bounding box is an OBJ file. I found out that the OBJ file is the best working format for a bounding box in Blender. I don't know why, but it's a fact. And when you exported everything, you can come straight to Blender, and here are some important things to know. First, you open the example file which you get with my zip file. You open it. Here you have a example volume, but that's only one frame. You delete it, and here are a very important issue. You have to change your outliner menu. You have to go to Blender file, then to meshes, and then you have to delete the GABC file with right click, delete. And right now the cache file is outside your file. If you don't do that, you will save several different caches and the simulation will broke, or your GPU will not handle the data amount. I don't know why this happens, but I think that's a bug. But with that way you can avoid that problem. So every time you reload your cache or you change your simulation, you have to do that way. You have to go to your outliner, change from all scenes to Blender file, and then go to meshes and delete the mesh object cache. So when you do that, you can go to import ABC and then move to your volume cache folder. Here you find a lot of ABC files, each one for each frame. The important thing is you have to load the last one, not in the middle or the first one. You have to load the last one, and you also have to activate isSequence. If you do not activate isSequence, the simulation will not work. The isSequence will load separate files, like when you use the Blender cutter. So you have to activate it. Import. It will take a while. Oh, oh my god. Sometimes it breaks up, but that's not a problem. We can start with a new scene. It also work. ABC, then go to that file. Last one is sequence. Import. Oh my god. What's happened now? Wait, I have to figure out what's happened here. I think Houdini kills the GPU VRAM. Okay, I'm back. I found out what the problem was. The problem was Houdini, because Houdini has a large GPU consumption. So it's a good idea to close it before you switch to Blender. Then I can redo this step. Go to meshes. Kill that one, and then import. I do it right now with a more safer way. I load the last one without accepting it or activating the isSequence. And now we have it here. We give it a new name, density maybe, and then go to the modifier tab, go to mesh sequence cache, and here you can load your simulation. The important issue is you have to load the same last frame file. Open cache, and right now when we switch to another frame, we have to activate it here. When you switch to another frame, we forgot to, that's a good idea. We forgot to choose the object path. Click here and change to GABC, and right now it works. So you can switch to different frames, and it should update. Yes, it updates. So, and the bounding box is quite simple. It's loading. You just need to delete the bounding box and import a new one, obj, and here are the bound file, keep vertex order, import, that's your bounding box. You can give it a new name, bound, and then the most important thing is to change the maximum draw type to bounds. Now choose your material, Houdini Pyro material. You also can import it from a library mid link with the link option. And then you get a network, a material network. It seems complicated, but it isn't. The most important thing is to change a new object for the point density node. Here you choose your density object, the cache file object in that case. The radius parameter means how large your voxel size is, and the resolution is how much steps you have in your voxel field. Right now 300 by 300 by 300. And the color attribute, it's important to use it, or maybe don't change it. The best way is you don't change it. And yeah, then you can deactivate it, turn off the visibility, so we don't need it. We don't need it in the rendering. We only need it to see ourselves where the cloud is. But when you render it, you have to deactivate it, or you will get heavy problems. And now I turn to render, hope it works. It will, yeah, it works perfectly. And when you look to the RAM usage, only 30%, 1 gig, a bit above 1 gig. Yeah, very fast. When you look around in the network, you have different options. Most of them, or the most important one, is the multiply node. Here you change the thickness of your cloud. When you turn it down to 10%, or yeah, to 10, your cloud will be thinner, as you can see. And it's important to reshape the color decay for the cloud, for the fire. It works all together. When you move the slider more to the left, you will see you will have more fire, or a much more brighter cloud. But it's up to your artistry decisions. So yeah, I think a bit more to the right looks better. It's up to you how you can, or how you set up the decay. On the other hand, you have a gamma node, which simply tells you or helps you to set up the brightness of your flame. When you turn it to 4, you will see it will be brighter on the ground. Some brightness, to shape the cloud, and here also a multiply node like this, how thick your fire will be. The current values are tested in different lighting situations. I think that looks very realistic. I also used a half by half mix node or mix shader node. I think that gives you the best result. I also added a transmission ray, which helped to turn down the render times a lot, more than a half. When you disconnect it, it will render a lot slower. Another important step to get it render very fast is to took some steps in the render settings in Blender. First of all, the clamp direct to 2, maybe 3 or 10, but not higher. When you go higher, you will get more noise. The clamp indirect to 1, render samples right now 150, and the most important part is volume sampling. When you turn down the step size, your cloud will get thicker and will have maybe a bit more quality, but will render 4 times slower. When you go to 0.4, you will get the quality like in my video. Also, the maximum steps means when you have a camera, maybe go here, and here's our camera. The 1024 means you have 1024 steps for the ray tracer for a calculation, with a step size of 0.4. When you go to 0.1, you will have 1024 steps with a smaller step size. Means in bed, or when you turn it to 500, it could happen that half of your simulation will not render, because after 500 steps the ray tracer stops tracing. So 1000 is good. You can also turn it down, it's up to you. And some transparency setups. Right now we have one volume tree in the calculation process. That means the light will scatter one step. When you turn it to 2, you will have larger render times. Your cloud will get brighter or lit up by the fire, and will render 2 times longer. Every step means multiply by 2. You can turn down reflective caustics and refractive caustics, but you don't have to, and all the rest is up to you. Yeah, the most important thing is to change the step size in the volume sampling when you create a new scene. Yeah, and you can activate a GPU compute that will help you a lot to render your simulation very fast. Yeah, I think I have explained the most important issue. It's important to import the last frame in Blender, not the first one or one in the middle. It's a safer way, like we saw, to import first the ABC object from the last frame and then the mesh sequence cache with the activation of isSequence. And it's good to import the bounding box. We also talked about the issue with the cache file. Here we have an old one, the old bound. You can delete it. We only need you have to clean your scene, or your scene will get a very large size when you save it. Right now 168 megabytes. when you have several caches inside, it could climb up to 2 gigabytes or more. It also will increase the used RAM amount in your graphics card. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the plugin. For me personally, it's a dream come true. Right now I can render everything in Blender without any limitation. It's very fast, and spread the word for that solution and also for Houdini. It's one of the best applications for simulation and animation of muscles and so on, and try to render it in cycles. The best renderer in the world right now, I think, or it's my opinion. I hope you have a good transition into the new year and enjoy my workflow. Thanks.